So you have two people in a relationship now, an anxious person and an avoidant person. They get into an argument. The anxious person starts thinking about all these different scenarios about what's going to happen. The avoidant person does the silent treatment. What do they do? How do they start to communicate with each other? Because the avoidant person, they're like, if you're going to shout at me, if you're also going to start creating all these scenarios in your head, I don't want to put myself through that. I'm going to retreat. The anxious person is like, I understand that, but I'm creating all these scenarios in my head because I know that this will happen. It's happened before, it could happen again, and you're avoiding it. You don't care about it. So there's one person, the anxious person, who feels like the other person doesn't care. And then there's the avoidant person who also feels like this person is so dramatic and is creating so much stress in their life for no reason. What do they do?
This is so, what you've just shared there is very powerful, because there's the anxious, the avoidant. And like you said, if you know this about the other person and you understand it, it's starting to have conversations. Like when you do go through arguments, when you do go through things that aren't working for you both, it's not a bad thing, but you're understanding each other. So if you notice that, okay, the anxious is like, oh my God, tell me about this and what are you thinking now and what's happening and and the avoidant is like, just leave me alone. It's like, right, okay, in that space, do you need to then have a conversation about how do you both work in a conflict? Because it's about understanding each other at a deeper level. So if like 5 years down the line, one person is feeling very anxious and starting to shut down and the other person is very avoidant, thinking, oh no, what are you doing? Or you're behaving like this, and sort of pointing fingers, you can start to drift further and further and further apart. And this is where the real work needs to happen. And I see in the therapy space is if one person is going through something, understanding why do they feel anxious? Because it's also not the responsibility of the partner to soothe that anxiety. We need to also hold our hands up and take responsibility of what's going on for us.